Welcome to episode 4 of the Wetaskiwin WonkCast for February 10th, 2018. Today's podcast is brought to you by Warren's Music, Delcon Visual Arts, and the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival Committee. If you'd like to become a sponsor for the Wetaskiwin WonkCast, it's simple. Find us on Facebook at Wetaskiwin WonkCast, send us a message, or you can contact us at dalesplace@hotmail.com. That's DALESPLACE@hotmail.com.
It's episode 4 of the WonkCast. Welcome back for all the people who have been listening the past 3 episodes. This is our 4th episode, and today we're going to be joined by Bill Tozer, who is a fantastic local musician, and it's a pleasure to sit with him here today. Of course, my co-host here, Dale Atchison, hanging out with us, and we're just going to have a good old chat about some music and some entertainment. And we thank you for joining us on this Saturday. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing fantastic, thanks, Justin.
Excellent to have you here. Excellent to have you part of the WonkCast, brand new music and arts podcast just taking off here in Wetaskiwin. So we're just going to start by asking you and talking to you and just getting a little feel for you and kind of who you're about and everything. One thing that I want to ask you is what's the age that you first picked up the guitar?
Well, I first picked up guitar seriously at age 11. I wanted to pick up guitar much earlier than that, but had to wage war with my father on the whole music thing for, 3 or 4 years before I managed to get a chance. One of the reasons was we had a motel that we lived in, so he was always hesitant to have an instrument in the house in case it disturbed a guest. I started wanting to play because of the Elvis Presley movies and then the Beatles, and my father actually broke his own rule and allowed us to stay up and watch the first Beatles broadcast and all of the other ones, the Stones, etc., even though we were, I was 11 and my younger brother was 9, and that's where it all started for me.
So you had some good influences to begin with then.
Well, yes.
Elvis, Beatles, Stones.
Can't get any better
Johnny
than that.
Cash, Buck Owens, very young Dolly Parton, all of those things were going on in the house. My father was a big fan of country music and the sort of Sun Records rock and roll, so it all flowed together.
So moving forward to, say, today, you're a songwriter as well.
Yeah, I have been writing songs on a regular basis. It's about 73 or 74, and still perform a couple of the ones that I wrote in the early 70s, and I'm constantly catching myself editing out too many new songs, so I'm trying to get myself to just allow them to flow and perform them as soon as I've got them going.
So in writing songs, what's your process? Do you play the instrument first and then the lyrics, or vice versa, or is it a combination of both? Or
depends on the song, and often what I'll do is I'll end up putting together a drum loop and letting the percussion that I've created inspire what's going to come out musically. So the style and everything may totally depend on the drum loop that I've thrown together.
Cool,
being interested in percussion and trying to do the elemental music with the Carl Orff system and the Sing Dance Play is really an outgrowth of that.
Yeah, I've never heard it done like that before. It's a very unique way to do it.
It's an incredible method, and I really recommend that songwriters try using a drum loop or a percussion. If you've heard something that inspires you, just getting it down, turning it into a loop, and letting it run while your creative juices are flowing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that particular style. So when you go into it, do you know that it's going to be a country song, and do you know that it's going to be a rock song, or does that just kind of develop over time once you get the drum loop in there and you say, okay, this sounds a little bit more like it could be something that's a little bluesy or...
Well, yeah, I might start out wanting to write a folk song and end up writing a hard rock song. It all depends on what actually comes flowing forward. And as I say, the drum loop is one method. Other times I'll just have a rhythmic figure in my mind that I've played on the guitar or whatever. I use a looper a lot in live performance as a solo artist, so I tend to use it as a tool in composing as well.
I think that's the most interesting thing about songwriting is once you see lyrics on paper, and then you actually bring the song to life, it could look a totally different way than it would sound, which I always thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, well, you look at some of the great lyrics, and you'd never know that they were from a particular genre. You probably pick wrong 80% of the time. I know I would.
Yep, for sure. So, are you self-taught? You've taken lessons? Do you play by ear? All of the above, or what's going on?
All of the above. I've learned from every musician I've ever played with. I'm constantly trying to learn new things. I am in the process now of learning a whole bunch of new exercises to pass on to my guitar students in terms of warm-ups and other things. I belong to 3 or 4 different internet guitar groups. I play with as many different musicians of different styles. I found I've learned something from total beginners, and I've learned tons from playing along with the greats like Carlos Santana and B.B. King and stuff, sitting in front of the laptop with my guitar. Yeah. The other thing that I found is that depending on the guitar that I picked up, the music will change.
Oh, definitely. Going from a mandolin to an electric guitar is 2 different, even though they can be played in the same song, but just 2 totally different sounds.
Yes.
Alluding to, you said your students, I know you're starting up a new venture as well. Do you want to fill everybody in on that?
Yes, I've created Waterworks Studios, which eventually will be a nonprofit organization that provides studio rehearsal, instructional space, and even some performance at some point, I hope. That will be available at low cost. I also have Sing, Dance, Play, which is a holistic method of teaching music to kids and adults. And, of course, I still teach guitar, mandolin, bass, and ukulele.
Yeah, you do quite a bit for teaching and for learning and everything. Is there one thing that you've learned from another musician that still to this day kind of stands out, and you would maybe credit for helping you get to where you wanted to be in guitar or music?
Yes, concert pianist Tony Booker, who now plays out of Vancouver, although he's almost retired now. As we all get up there in our ages over the big 6'5". I'm only 63 myself, but he was a little bit older than me. He had a great way of teaching people how to improvise. And he just would walk over, grab an album, pick a track, and say, play along with this track until you can play something that isn't on this record that I will miss every time I hear this song from this moment forward. Goodbye.
Well, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
And I found that it was incredible. It led me down, into the soloing and doing a lot of descant work, and because my big inspiration for being a lead guitarist was Carlos Santana, followed quickly by Buddy Guy and B.B. King and all of the others that I was exposed to because of Santana, I found that it really brought something to my playing that I don't think I would have found any other way.
All exceptional musicians, and that's great to hear that you have such a wide variety of influences, and it doesn't just come from one aspect or one particular genre.
Yep, everything from Chick Corea on.
Yeah, so we were just talking about, the wide variety of influences you have, and I've seen you play live, and you always play such an eclectic, collection of music. Is there a song that you have been itching to learn still, or a song that you maybe haven't played live that you've wanted to incorporate into your shows?
I've got a couple that I'm working on that I have never actually performed live. I have a really interesting new arrangement of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I've got a version of All Along the Watchtower that's completely different than the standards that everybody's used to, the Bob Dylan or the Jimi Hendrix. And I am working on a great old song by Procol Harum, and that everybody knows. And I'm looking forward to actually tackling Conquistador one day.
Oh, nice. Oh. Yeah, that would be fun.
And I talked to Sandra Hall at the high school a couple of years ago, and it is still a possibility that at some time I will get the chance to work with her brilliant young musicians and try to do it as a live concert piece with the high school jazz band.
That'd be very cool to see.
So what's your take on the local music scene in Wetaskiwin?
There are an incredible number of really talented musicians and singers out there and in this town, far more than you would probably expect. But I find that that's true in every area of the creative arts that I have been exposed to, from theater to crafts to storytelling, cowboy poetry. There is an incredible amount of talent in this area, and I'm hoping that despite technology, this will continue in the new generation.
Nice. And you mentioned theater. You've been involved in a few plays at the Manlock Theater as well. You were in the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and I believe a couple other ones that the names escape me right now. But what's your how do I put this? Do you want to continue with the acting, or is that just another branch off the tree?
The acting is something that I'd love to do more of, and I'd love to do more singing on stage. And as I do more with my sing, dance, play and feel more comfortable with the movement and stuff, I'm hoping to get a little bit more into the chorus line and enjoy it more. The last couple of times being in the chorus line with choreographed dance moves is beyond my old comfort zone. As an old musician, you can appreciate that most of the time I spent it on the bandstand and not in the dance floor. So
yeah, it's a whole new animal, that one for sure.
But yes, I love acting and the whole stage experience.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of musicians who have kind of transferred from music into acting, and making that transition for some is easy, and making that transition for others is hard. Was that hard for you to do, or is that something you always had in you? Did you have that theater background kind of kicking around?
Well, one of the things that I had in the background was that my mother was actually a drama teacher, and she was a director and producer of various community plays in Kelowna when I was growing up. So it's always been there. I've always been fascinated with it. I've always enjoyed being in the background, and the chance to leap from the technical sound side and lights and that sort of thing actually onto stage was a lot of fun, and I love it all. I may even take a cue from a couple of my friends like Tina and try my hand at acting or directing. She keeps saying, "Have you ever thought of directing? You should look at that, add that to your portfolio." So my father always said, "A day you don't learn something is a day you've totally wasted." I tend to live my life that way.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think anybody in the arts should always learn something completely new and something that completely scares them. Is there anything that you still want to try that maybe in the arts community that you haven't had a chance to tackle yet?
I'd really like to take a painting class and a ceramics class and give it a go. As a left-handed person, I tend to be just a little dyslexic and a little bit fumble-fingered on some of the things that are taught by right-handed people. It doesn't always just flow in instant translation when you're going from right to left, as most people who have ever tried to use their left hand to use a monkey wrench or a screwdriver can attest. But it's not always so easy as you would think it would be.
No, but that could turn into some very exceptional pieces of art. If you see a lot of modern art and it's kind of you think, it looks like they threw a bucket down or something and threw a bucket across the canvas, and if you put your own unique spin on things and I think that'd be something that'd be really cool to see for sure.
Yeah, well, my current inspiration always is Carlos Santana. Of course, he's gone on to painting, photography, just wrote his autobiography, which I highly recommend, and just watched the latest special with John Mellencamp on Netflix. Yes. He's doing many of the same things. As he said, he creates something every day. It could be a shelf, it could be a painting, it could be a photograph, it could be a song. It could be the chorus to a song he's been working on for the last 20 years, but every day he creates something.
I think that's what keeps you fresh as an artist, is always keeping your mind working and always keeping, occupied and knowing that you still have it and can still use it while you still have it.
Yes, the music business tends to want to squash us into a box, and, you'll find, okay, you're a folk artist, and we only want to see folk art from you. We only want to hear folk songs. We don't want to hear any rock. We still get that. And after growing up in the 60s and seeing all of the stuff that's still going on 50, 60 years later, I just find it amazing that we still try to put everybody into boxes. We were created to be creative. If we're in the image of God, then we are automatically creative. It's a matter of finding the confidence to actually let it happen.
Well, yes, it's today's society and their labels, right? If they hear you starting out saying, you're playing folk, we got to hire this guy to play folk. But yet you can branch off and do rock, you can do country, albeit, dare I say it, rap. You never know, right? Not that there's anything wrong with rap. So moving forward, last summer at the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival, you performed there as well. That was a pretty solid turnout for our first year. What were your impressions, and what do you think could be an improvement or keep the same or whatever for this year?
Well, I love the fact that it was spread out enough that you could have multiple stages without it squashing one of the stages. You could hear the different performances. You didn't get caught up with just a muddle. So I thought that the distancing and the volume checks were brilliantly handled last year. I loved the whole thing. I would love to see more people out. I would love to see more artists out, more musicians out, just more of the same great things. I mean, the people who put it together, people like Bob and Susan and yourself and all of the rest, did such a marvelous job for a first time. You would have never believed it was the first time that festival happened. As a participant, you would have thought that it had been going on for a number of years.
Oh yeah, there's so many people to recognize for that, Carol, and then Bonnie, and like you said, you mentioned Bob and Susan already,
and Riley.
Riley, yeah,
my gosh, he put out so much over all of that time, and handling that main stage.
And not to forget all the other volunteers that are nameless right now, because I don't know everybody who was involved. Sadly, I couldn't be there for the entire day, but what I did see was very impressive.
Yeah. Well, and I had a booth as well for my sing dance play, and I found that everybody was out to learn and have a good time and be exposed, and it was a very, very positive experience
Yeah, don't forget the food. Oh man, the food's
Yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we'll get the Pie Man back this year, seeing as he's relocated. But there was other great food out there, and boy, oh boy, some of those folks really outdid themselves.
So, again, with yourself, you said you're starting up a new venture with your Waterworks studios, etc. Is there anything musically that you have coming up in the very near future that you're going to want to tell us about, or just kind of keeping that on the down low for now?
Well, right now, the first week of April, I'll be playing at Beans at their great venue on the Thursday night music nights. I hope to be debuting a couple of new songs, new to me anyway, and a couple of originals that I haven't ever performed in front of public. So that there will be some changes to the way that I'm performing, and also the actual material that I'm performing. It'll still be eclectic, probably even more so, and we're going to be trying to do some more inclusive stuff. Be raiding my percussion toy boxes and bringing some stuff for
Tickle Trunk
to get the tickle trunk going and get people clapping, singing along, and using some of the stranger percussion instruments that I've collected so far.
So as a segue into that, maybe if you're up to it, I see you brought your guitar along, maybe you could, as Jay Simcoe would say, how is it,
sing, strum, and play?
Sing, strum, and something to that effect. I don't know if you're up to that, maybe we can get a mic in front of you and you can perform a song for us.
I'd love to do so. All right, this is a song that I actually first wrote in 1974, so it's just a couple of years old.
Awesome.
There's a girl I met once in dreamland. Even though I never met her in real life, the lies and beauty are based in around me. I just can't get her out of my mind. Well, some say that she's an angel. Others say she's a devil in disguise. I don't know, but I have a feeling
Awesome job, Bill. That's a great song. You said from 74, that's when you wrote that?
Yes, I wrote it. I was working at the Hotel Vancouver and living on Jarvis in an apartment house that was frequented by ladies of the evening.
The oldest profession in the world, definitely.
Yeah, was just down from Oil Can Harry's, so I got lucky one day, and on one of the few days off that I had that year, I got to hear Heart do their very last farewell at Oil Can Harry's, which was the kickoff to Dreamboat Annie's tour.
Wow. Yeah, that's going back a few years.
Yeah, just a couple of days.
Yeah.
Now, just listening to that song and listening to the lyrics, is there a particular lady or lady of the night that might have inspired that song?
Definitely not a lady of the night, but there were actually a couple of ladies that I knew around that period that inspired that song. Working for Hilton International at the time, we weren't allowed to interact with any other management trainees other than maybe a quick bite of lunch. And there was a couple of girls that I knew in high school and in college that definitely inspired that song.
Now, you say you're a solo musician, but you've played in bands in the past, and I actually had the privilege of playing in a blues band as a bass player myself with you for a little while. And we've done other things at open mic and whatnot. Is there a preference, solo musician, band, or you like them equally as much? Or?
I love playing in bands. I'm a performing musician at heart. I love to play lead guitar. I love to play descants. When I do a solo, I end up using the looper so I can do those things. I enjoy doing the solo because it allows me to pick the playlist and go with the audience at the moment. But I also love playing in bands. I love the collaboration of working with musicians. The fact that I learn something new every time I strap on the guitar, especially when I'm playing with somebody else, is just a huge lift for me. And also, I'm one of those people who really, I'm inspired by the projects that I'm in. So I will play more, I will practice more, I will dig deeper when I'm working with other musicians than I would tend to as a solo performer.
So your music that you just sang for us, I know you've got others. Do you have them on any of the music websites where you can sell your music? Or if you do you care to list them here right now?
I'm on Reverb.com and under Passion and Grace, which was a project that I did with Rima Marnie out at Pinoca. And so my originals are on there and some of her originals are on there. And I'm getting ready to re-record a couple of them. We did a demo, which we put on Reverb Nation, but none of the songs completely captured what I was trying to shoot for. Demo budgets being what they are, you just never... Yeah. You're always short that one musician, that one backup singer, that one track that would take it to the next level. And so I'm looking to re-record them. I'd like to get Rima involved. She's a fabulous singer and arranger. And frankly, I'd love to have you on there, Dale, along with...
I'd be honored. It'd be fun. Definitely.
William Stengel and some of the others that are in town, I would love to include in the project. There are some fantastic vocalists that I've been privileged to work with, like Carmen and many, many others. That Sheila comes to mind. That I feel would really add something. Jan Schwanek, I'd love to have her as a multiple instrumentalist. You listen to her string work in the string quartet. You listen to the stuff that she can do on trumpet that hardly anybody ever hears in this town. But I'd love to have her and some of the others that I've had a chance to play with through my connection with the theater and with Warren and Warren's music. Another player that I would love to have on one or two of the tracks of my own things because of what he can contribute.
So with your new Waterworks Studios coming up, do you care to let everybody know your address and when you'll be open, or if you have that projected yet?
Well, I'm waiting right now for some paperwork to go through the city, and I was waylaid by illness for a good chunk of January, and a heavy-duty work schedule with my regular employer in November and December. So we fell behind on our original plans, but I'm hoping to have everything running just after the Parade of Programs, which of course is happening on March 19th, I believe.
I believe something like that.
19th or 20th, and which is always a fabulous chance to see the various and talk to the various people that are offering programs. But certainly by the second week of April, we will be open, and I will be actually offering some courses, and look forward to seeing a whole bunch of people come out and hopefully have a few other instructors involved as well, so that we have a bigger slate of offerings.
Okay, and again, do you care to elaborate on exactly what you'll be doing there?
Yes, my main thing is Sing, Dance, Play, which is a holistic method of teaching music to children and adults. We'll have kids, youth, and adult courses. It's a fantastic way you do everything. By doing, we learn and absorb the best as human beings. So it's completely hands-on. It involves the whole body down to fine motor skills, just the fingers. Singing, chanting, all forms of music, including dance, are a part of that program. And then, of course, I'll be teaching my guitar and ukulele, mandolin, and bass lessons. And you can call or text me anytime. 587-334-8382 is the number, and it's the old F-cubed building, which is 5017 50th Avenue, right here downtown Wetaskiwin.
Awesome, Bill. Really appreciate you coming in and being on our 4th episode. Justin, you got anything else you'd like to add?
Just, thanks for coming down. Thanks for playing us some music, and we love the chance to hear any original music from the artists that stop by. So if you're a forthcoming artist, we'd love to hear some of your music.
And thanks to our sponsors, we have the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival, we have Warren's Music, Delcon Visual Arts. So if you'd like to be a part of the podcast, just give us a call, 780-352-6092, or you can email us at dalesplace@hotmail.com, or you can get a hold of Justin on his Facebook page or mine as well, and we have our WonkCast page. You can contact us there, and on our website. Boy, we got a lot going on lately.
Yeah,
What's happening? Awesome.
Don't forget they can drop into Dalcon Gallery.
They definitely can. Dalcon Visual Arts, 4914 50th Street. That's it for now. Bill, again, thanks for coming down and sharing your short life story with us and singing us a song, and that was amazing. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in.
Stay tuned for our next episode next time.